Welcome to Crayon Resist. I'm going to start off with a glossy piece of paper, Regular Memories black dye ink, and my flowers card art. I'm just going to stamp it into the center. Nice crisp image. I'm going to set this aside to dry a little bit. I've pre-stamped some other images, so I'm going to go ahead and start working with those. I'm using a plain white Crayola crayon, and I get them through Dick Blick, 12 in a pack. And right now I'm just going to outline my flowers. Now that I've finished outlining all my lines and images that I want to, I'm going to pick out a ink that I want to use. These are Distress Inks by Tim Holtz, and I mark the sides of my pack so I can tell when they're stacked on the shelf. This one's Peeled Paint, which is a really nice green, and I'm using the Ink Essentials applicator. I'm going to start off in a swirl pattern, and I'll just keep adding ink once it feels dry. Sorry, I'm kind of losing my voice. So just keep adding ink and going in a swirl pattern. I try to get an angle on my green so one side's higher than the other. Now I move on to Faded Jeans, which is one of my favorite blue inks. And I have an applicator with blue ink on it. So again, I start off in a swirl pattern right away. That way you don't get any blocky lines. The green and blue, they go well together, so I like to use them next to each other. You can start to see the resist of the crayon right now as the ink gets darker into the paper. This cardstock is also by Ranger, excuse me again, and it's a really heavy-duty glossy paper, which I really enjoy. You can do this on matte paper. I don't think it works out as well. On this image, what I've done is I stamped a script over the flowers, and I'm again going to outline with the crayon. I'm just going to use the flower images only on this set. You will notice a little bit of smudging of the ink when you do this, but it's just pulling and it's just staying with the crayon. It'll come off when we buff it out later. So I'm going to start off with my Faded Jeans blue, and I'm just going to kind of blot and swirl, try to get concentrated color just on the one flower. And now I'm using Walnut Stain, and I'm just going to color the other flower. Nice. Now I'm going to grab a paper towel and I'm going to just buff it out. So what I'm doing is taking the crayon away from the paper. And what happens is it just pops the flowers right out. I've cut out my flowers and I've stamped a tag with stays on. I've also cut off a little portion of the bottom of the tag, added some flowers and a ribbon, and this is what it looks like from the back. Stuck my flowers on and some gems. I've also stamped onto a craft piece of paper, added some paper flowers and some foam squares. Also added a strip of ribbon. Right now I'm coloring in the little teardrops of the ribbon pattern with the Ink Essentials white pen by Ranger. The craft paper kind of soaks it up a little bit, so I'll probably have to go back over and do a couple more marks on it to make it more vibrant. I've positioned my foam squares so they're in kind of a triangle and it should be secure when I go to put everything together. Now I'm going to layer them on top. It's kind of hard to see at this angle. Make sure I have it straight. and press it in place. For the other resist that I did, I cut it down to a size that I liked, matted it on black paper, and then I added a ribbon with a clear circle tag with a little greeting. This card I did with a color pencil and Gamsol, and I added a little sentiment and a ribbon, put it on mocha paper, and then I mounted it onto ochre. So these are 3 cards with the same stamp, but they look completely different. Thanks for joining me.